Hi everyone, today we're going to talk about the evolving role of leadership. In this chapter, we'll explore how leadership is both timeless and ever evolving. While some leadership principles remain constant, such as setting direction and motivating people, today's leaders must adapt to global trends. Leaders in the 21st century often manage teams that are geographically dispersed across the country or even the world. This demands new ways to communicate, collaborate, and connect with employees. Additionally, workers today are more educated and expectations are higher for leaders. The capacity to lead effectively is no longer optional but essential. Leaders must set the tone for both what gets done and how it gets done. Increasingly, leadership involves stewardship, not just of the organization's goals, but also of the environment and the community. Ethics and values-based leadership are not just buzzwords. They're critical for attracting top talent, maintaining loyal customers, and securing long-term business partnerships. As Napoleon said, a leader is a dealer in hope, and as Indira Gandhi pointed out, modern leadership is about getting along with people. Finally, John Kotter emphasized that leaders must set direction, align people, and motivate teams. These timeless concepts continue to shape effective leadership today. Transformational leaders inspire their teams to prioritize the company's goal above their own. These leaders are visionaries, using tools such as charisma to inspire confidence, intellectual stimulation to challenge norms, and individualized consideration to show genuine care for team members. A great example of this is Steve Jobs, who transformed Apple with his visionary leadership and emphasis on innovation. Research shows transformational leadership significantly increases trust, motivation, and employee satisfaction. It also drives performance and commitment to organizational change efforts. Transactional leadership ensures employees achieve organizational goals by using rewards and managing performance. Leaders offer contingent rewards to motivate teams, and they may either proactively prevent problems, active management, or only intervene after problems arise, passive management. While transformational leadership is seen as highly effective, transactional leadership is equally important, especially in structured or task-oriented environments. Successful leaders often combine both styles to maximize team performance. Leader-member exchange theory, or LMX theory, highlights the relationships leaders form with their team members. In high-quality relationships, leaders and employees trust and support each other, leading to increased job satisfaction and performance. For example, a trusted employee may receive more resources, guidance, or opportunities for growth. In contrast, low-quality LMX relationships remain strictly formal, with little mutual respect or loyalty. Leaders should strive to build high-quality relationships with all employees while ensuring fairness to avoid perceptions of favoritism. Servant leadership shifts the focus from the leader to the employees. The leader's mission is to develop and empower team members while prioritizing their well-being. Servant leaders also extend their focus beyond the company to include the broader community. This leadership style fosters trust, fairness, and employee commitment. For example, Abraham Lincoln is often regarded as a servant leader due to his balance of empathy, generosity, and moral conscience. While this style may require humility and self-sacrifice, it creates a strong and motivated team. Authentic leadership focuses on staying true to oneself and acting in line with personal values. Authentic leaders are self-aware, reflective, and transparent. For instance, Howard Schultz, the founder of Starbucks, used his childhood experiences to create policies that prioritize employee well-being, such as offering health insurance for part-time workers. This approach builds trust among team members and promotes long-term satisfaction and performance. Employees value leaders who are genuine, consistent, and who practice what they preach. Make sure to watch the video on The Power of Vulnerability by Brené Brown. Vulnerability is often misunderstood as weakness, but as Brené Brown explains in her TED Talk, it is the foundation of meaningful human connection. Brown describes vulnerability as emotional exposure, trust, and the courage to embrace uncertainty. She challenges the idea that vulnerability is negative, linking it to positive emotions like love, joy, and empathy. Leaders who embrace vulnerability, such as admitting mistakes, showing humility, or supporting employees, build deeper trust and stronger teams. Trust and vulnerability go hand in hand. Leaders build trust by being open and consistent. LMX theory, or leader-member exchange theory, highlights this. Leaders form stronger bonds, high trust with in-group employees, resulting in higher performance and collaboration. For example, leaders might take risks by delegating critical tasks to trusted employees, fostering mutual trust. Brené Brown notes that trust is a chicken and egg situation. It builds through shared vulnerability and connection. Vulnerability requires courage, which is why Brené Brown calls it the most accurate measure of bravery. Leaders who show courage embrace tough conversations and transparency, fostering a culture where openness is rewarded. There's a paradox at play. We see vulnerability in others as strength and courage, but in ourselves we view it as inadequacy. Leaders must recognize this mindset and model courage to inspire teams to do the same. By removing their emotional armor, leaders create spaces where people feel safe to share ideas and take risks. Vulnerability is central to effective leadership styles. Authentic leaders are self-aware, transparent, and act consistently with their values. They use vulnerability to connect and inspire trust. Ethical leaders set moral examples and communicate honestly with their teams, strengthening trust. Transformational leaders build relationships through individualized consideration, caring about employees' needs and emotions. In each of these styles, vulnerability creates trust, enhances authenticity, and fosters genuine connections. Leaders who embrace this approach can inspire loyalty, commitment, and meaningful team performance. Corporations as social movements. Traditionally, corporations were formal, rigid, and hierarchical. However, the modern workforce has made companies adopt characteristics of social movements, fluid, collective, and purpose-driven. Leaders focus on charisma and empowering employees rather than relying solely on authority. For example, a bank CEO encouraged employees to self-organize and solve workplace issues collaboratively, replacing the old top-down structure. This approach fosters innovation, engagement, and flexibility, much like social movements do. Social networking has moved beyond casual connections to become a powerful corporate tool. Internally, companies leverage social networks to connect employees, foster collaboration, and spark innovation. Externally, companies like Starbucks use platforms like Facebook to engage customers for ideas and feedback. IBM even created virtual spaces for teams to meet and collaborate, reflecting today's evolving workplace. Another example is Netflix, which offered $1 million reward to its social network for improving its movie recommendation algorithm. Social networks, both in and outside the company, fuel innovation and passion. Harvard professor David Garvin defined learning organizations as those that adapt and improve by systematically creating, acquiring, and sharing knowledge. They focus on problem solving, experimenting, and learning from both successes and failures. For example, Boeing analyzed lessons from previous airplane models like the 737 and 747 to perfect their newer models like the 757 and 767. Sharing knowledge quickly across teams is essential for organizations to remain competitive, adaptable, and innovative. Virtual organizations are becoming the norm as companies adopt remote work models, particularly during the COVID-19 pandemic. These organizations rely heavily on technologies like video meetings, wikis, and shared communication platforms to keep teams connected. Leaders face challenges like ensuring clarity, alignment, and engagement among geographically dispersed teams. The pandemic highlighted the importance of this shift. Higher education, for example, transitioned almost entirely online, proving that work can happen effectively from anywhere. Moving forward, organizations are embracing a work from anywhere mindset, enabling access to a broader global talent pool. This slide highlights 10 major global trends divided into challenges and solutions that leaders face today. On the challenge side, environmental concerns, personalization, and the rapid pace of innovation require organizations to adapt quickly. Increasing complexity such as supply chain disruptions or sustainability demands adds to these challenges. Additionally, the competition for talent intensifies as industries need highly skilled workers. On the solutions side, global connectivity and mobility enable people to collaborate and innovate across borders. For example, 63% of the world's population now uses the internet, and smartphones connect workers even in remote regions. The rise of the creative class and tools like blogs and open source platforms empower individuals to share ideas. Finally, increasing collaboration, like Google's Open Handset Alliance, proves that global problems can be solved faster when teams work together across time and space. This slide focuses on globalization and its implications for leadership. Cross-cultural communication is a significant challenge. For example, direct answers are valued in Canada, while indirectness or background context is preferred in places like Japan or Southern Europe. The GLOBE project helps leaders understand cultural dimensions and their influence on leadership styles. It reflects how societal and organizational values differ worldwide. We also see how cultural clashes can derail global ventures. For example, the Corning Vitro partnership failed because Mexican managers perceived American decision-making as too aggressive and rushed, while Americans were frustrated with slower decision-making. To succeed, leaders must develop inclusive leadership skills to navigate barriers like biases, stereotypes, and structural inequalities. Inclusive leadership. Inclusive leadership is a critical framework for managing diverse global teams as outlined here. Inclusive leadership values diversity and removes barriers for marginalized groups, creating environments where everyone feels valued. Dillon and Bork identify 6 key characteristics of inclusive leaders. First, commitment to diversity and fairness. Second, courage to challenge biases and admit limitations. 3, cognizance of bias to prevent exclusionary practices. 4, curiosity to learn and embrace diverse perspectives. 5, cultural intelligence to understand how cultural norms influence behavior. 6, collaboration to foster open communication and innovation. An example of inclusive leadership in action is Walmart Mexico. The company embraced local culture by incorporating Zapotec language and traditions into its operations. This adaptation shows the importance of respecting cultural differences to build trust and inclusivity. This slide highlights the common ethical dilemmas managers face, such as balancing transparency in advertising, ensuring fair pay, and respecting privacy while maintaining security. These challenges are amplified under pressure to meet deadlines or advance careers. The Enron scandal serves as a cautionary tale. Despite ethical concerns raised internally, management prioritized profits over integrity, leading to massive losses for employees, shareholders, and the company itself. Ethical behavior starts at the leadership level. Leaders must promote ethical conduct through transparency, fairness, and accountability. Managers need to recognize ethical challenges early and address them proactively to avoid long-term harm. This slide introduces a practical ethical decision-making framework to guide managers through challenging situations. The steps begin with assessing the situation. Determine if an action is unethical and consider who will be affected. Identify stakeholders such as employees or customers, which helps to broaden the perspective. Leaders must evaluate alternatives by weighing consequences, responsibilities, and their personal integrity. A useful test is to ask, how would I feel if this decision was publicized? Would I defend it to my family? We can look to Procter & Gamble's values, like integrity, trust, and ownership, as examples of how ethical principles are woven into a company's code of conduct. Ethical leadership earns trust, drives effectiveness, and sustains organizational success. Charismatic leaders inspire others by creating and communicating a compelling vision. For example, PepsiCo CEO Indra Nooyi energizes her team with passion and purpose. To develop charisma, focus on your long-term vision and body language while empowering employees to succeed. Servant leadership flips traditional leadership. Instead of asking what employees can do for you, ask what you can do for them. Get to know your team's goals and values, prioritize their growth, and stay humble. Leaders like Nelson Mandela and Herb Kelleher embody this style, showing how service and humility create lasting trust and impact. Authentic leadership begins with self-awareness. Reflect on your life history, major events, and the role models who shaped you. Journaling can help you track challenges and achievements. Deepening your self-reflection, integrity is essential to authentic leadership. Define your core values. What principles guide your behavior? Use empowering language with your team, recognizing how words shape relationships and morale. Authentic leaders inspire trust and confidence because their actions align with their values, creating a healthy and ethical workplace.